Welcome home, Rep Pack Marcus here, and welcome to the archive. Today we are going to be checking out definitely in my opinion, the greatest SpongeBob figure set of all time, which comes from the greatest line of SpongeBob items ever, in my opinion. So on this channel, I dive a little bit deeper into some of the items that I do on my regular channel, Comfort Cartoons, my main cartoon collecting channel, if you will. So we're gonna get right into it. But this line here comes from a set called the Episodic SpongeBob Figures. It's a line done by Mattel around 2005, all the way to I think the latest item being 2007. If you currently go on the SpongeBob wiki, it is officially named now the SpongeBob Episodic line, but that's actually a name that I coined on Comfort Cartoons. Before that, there was no official title for these figures or sets. Of course, they didn't credit us on the wiki, but that's okay, as long as it's got an official name. So officially almost now, without the company themselves, being on the fan wiki, I could say this is the episodic line. And I think that I have the perfect collection at this point to try to start archiving visually all of these figures here, because as far as I know, I'm the closest person to having a complete set of all of the figures in this episodic line. We will be covering them through a series of videos. Today we'll be covering some of my favorites here, being the action figures. And we'll be covering the other ones as well too, but I am missing one, and hopefully by the end of this series I will be able to find that last one that I need. It's probably one of the more accessible of the ones in the line, so I'm sure we will. It's just a matter of time. But I'm gonna switch over to that side of the camera so I can, be more hands-on with each figure. I'm fortunate enough to own a couple of them out of the box and also some of the prototypes as well. But again, this is the 2005 line done by Mattel. I could talk endlessly about this topic, and that's why it's perfect for the archive video. It features in these series here, these figures, we got Sandy Cheeks, Patrick, SpongeBob, and of course Mr. Krabs. In beautiful detail and really dynamic poses. The packaging is incredible, which we'll be checking out, and just kind of digging deeper into each item and checking out these prototypes depending on which ones I have available for each character. But let's go ahead and dive on in. Okay, so we're gonna be starting off with SpongeBob here, and excuse me if I have any things that I missay or I have to reiterate some facts because I say something incorrect. These videos in this channel, I try to do a lot more raw, a lot more just I would say real, honestly, just me kind of talking about them. My main channel videos are kind of more themed around, just keeping everything moving and kind of for the YouTube algorithm, where these ones here are just a little bit more just raw. I guess that's the best way to put it. But we have the SpongeBob as Mermaidman here. Come on, he's so cool. So looking at how dynamic the statues are, the figures in there, you can see he's got his little freaking starfish here on his face. He's got the Mermaid Man belt, and unfortunately these are from 2005, so these are going on over 20 years old. So because of that, he doesn't work anymore. There's no sounds anymore, but he did have some wacky phrases. They put a nice little image here of Mermaid Man to kind of show you what he's kind of based off of here. Although actually he kind of is slightly different from the real Mermaid Man. If you see this one, the Mermaid Man logo here is actually a darker green, whereas Mermaid Man's belt is actually more of a lighter blue, and that carries across to all of the different SpongeBob plush iterations as well. And it's something that let me grab one real quick. Until I actually started looking at these figures closely, I didn't actually notice, but that's kind of the style that carries across. So I think it's just a good way of them kind of showing you that maybe that SpongeBob's costume is kind of almost like a Spirit Halloween variant on Mermaid Man's costume, not being a one-to-one. But I'm actually curious to see if in this episode, in episode 31, which this is actually based off of, if that suit is consistent with the one in the episodes.
To the invisible Bob-mobile!
Ignition!
That's why these are called the episodic figures, is because they are all based off of particular episodes of the SpongeBob series. So you can see this one is based off of episode 31. I'm going to try to show you guys all of the, the moments that are talked about within the episodes as well, or all of the moments in the episodes that are, shown in the figures, if you will. So On the side here, we got SpongeBob as Mermaid Man. On the back here, it says, "This is a job for Mermaid Man." It's got arm swing action as well as wacky sound effects. And I do actually, fortunately, have one of these out of the box. So all of these ones that I have loose here, I have found like at the flea market or thrifting. They are super rare. Even just loose, these figures can go for, you know, around 30 to 40 bucks. Whereas the ones in the box can be, you know, upwards of like, you know, anywhere from, you know, $100 to $150. But there actually is like a small little spot here. You can see like the ink is not like, I don't know if somebody tried to do a touch-up job, but on the one in the box, there doesn't have any ink issues at all. So I think maybe whoever owned this one at some point tried to, like, you know, fix a couple little markings in it. But looking at him though, the action, the arm action, I don't know if it's because this one was at the flea market, he's kind of old, but you just kind of get this little arm pivot. But just looking at him, he is gorgeous. You got the ray here. It is missing the suction cup that shoots out of this one. You can see that in the box there. But if you compare this to any of the action figures at the time that we had available, it is night and day how sick these are. So I will pop up an image of the I guess you would say the bendable figures. These are the ones that were available at the time before these ones, the closest thing we had to action figures, if you will. And they are cool, but if you're just talking about dynamics and how cool they look as actually being able to play with them, I think these take the cake. And then also we had the Jakks Pacific ones that came out after these ones, and those are more just kind of like figures. More than actual action figures. So that's why I say that these are, in my opinion, the best SpongeBob action figures that we have ever received, other than maybe the new Super 7 ones that are a little bit newer. But I think that those don't have the old school style, the nostalgic kick that these ones do, though. So that still carries these ones in the top. But that's just a look at the SpongeBob one there. Like I said, having it out of the box is awesome. You can see on the bottom here, we have the other characters available in the line, which we'll be checking out here shortly. You see, test your nautical knowledge. And it says, what do Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy drive in? And I have no clue because no one's ever seen it. So who knows? You know, it says they say it's an invisible boatmobile, but for all we know, it could be an invisible, you know, freaking wagon or invincible jet ski. I mean, who knows what it really is. So there is the SpongeBob one right there. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Patrick one, just because these two are kind of to be connected, being that it is the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy setup here. So you can see you've got Barnacle Boy over here. Putting them next to each other is really cool because you got both of the characters kind of here. And I mean, just the packaging on these, come on. Like with the Jakks Pacific figures, we just got them in these blisters. With those bendable figures, we got them with like just another blister kind of, with, you know, some of them just being with a tag on them. This right here feels so much more action packed. The packaging is just an art piece in itself. You can display them. They're so dynamic with like the, you know, the bubbles coming out. They feel just like, oh, you don't even want to take them out. I just, you know, I've literally gush about these things. They're just so cool, the packaging. So with the Patrick one, you have a similar to the SpongeBob one. You get a little arm action. You can see the arm action works a lot better on this Patrick figure here that's still in the box. But yeah, I don't want to play with it too much. Again, them being old, you don't want to, like, you know, crack any of the gears in there. And then he's got the water ball that he shoots out of his fist over here on this side.
We're not supposed to touch that stuff.
And yeah, that's the Patrick one right there. Also based off episode 31. We'll find the clip for that one that connects with it. Underwear, these are super undies. Don't call them underwear. And it's the same thing with the Patrick one. The costume is a lighter blue than Barnacle Boy's actual costume. And then not just that, he doesn't have a shirt on, whereas Barnacle Boy has a shirt. Clearly, he does have the same ascot though, like cape type thing that Barnacle Boy does though. And then on the back here, you can see we got the other ones as well. And the same fact that you see on the SpongeBob one here. I didn't mention this on the last one, but it kind of explains the episode as well, like a little summary here. It says, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy go on vacation, leaving SpongeBob and Patrick in charge of the Mermaid Lair. trouble erupts when duo accidentally releases their arch villain and the evil man ray. Sorry, I'm reading this through the camera lens, so it's a little hard. Can SpongeBob and Patrick save the day while teaching the no-gooder to be a model citizen? I mean, yeah, that is a classic episode, absolutely. And for the Patrick one, although I do not have one out of the box, I am very fortunate to be able to own one of the actual model prototypes. So I've never seen another one of these available or in anybody else's collection. But how you know it's a model prototype is, for example, here you can see like all of these seams there where they kind of create the pieces. Like on his arm there, you'll see that line across his arm. That's where they connect the shell pieces in order to make the figure, you know, after the final production. You can see this figure here has none of the mold lines here. There's a little scratch here from just age. I got them in pretty rough condition. I have a whole video of that on Comfort Cartoons where I basically rebuilt these because they came like in pieces. This arm still comes off very easily. It was not designed like that. I just made the best of what I could with the pieces that I received. But the same thing goes with this here. You don't see any of the shell pieces there in the actual figure that you do, because this was designed like quite literally hand sculpted and then designed to be the figure, and then they let that dry off and then they're able to cast all the pieces using this one here. So I just, like I said, consider myself so lucky of all the prototypes I've been able to acquire, which is not that many. To be able to get some of one of my favorite figures in the world is just super cool. So on the bottom here, you'll see there's no trademarking either because this was made to be an in-house product. But yeah, that's pretty much it on him. He's a pretty close 1-to-1. You do have the belly button just kind of being a regular belly button, where on this one that became the button. I guess they were still trying to figure out how they were going to activate that feature. You can see some small shaping differences in his eyebrows. These ones are a lot more straight, whereas these ones are, you know, a little bit more curved, but essentially these are lost media. You know, this is a look at these iconic figures as what they were kind of conceptualized as versus what it ended up becoming. So really proud to own these. And yeah, that's the Patrick figure there, a beautiful set. The same price for these ones. They go right now as of recording this video for around you know, $100 to $150 in good shape there. So that's the Patrick one there. And then next up, we will be looking at the Sandra one. Sandrail. We got Sandy here, and hers, she's got the karate chop in action. That still happens to work here. I love that they have freaking this guy over here. I can't remember his name. Not Reggie. Is it Reggie? What's up, Reg? Yeah, I think it is Reg. Yeah, the freaking guy who works at the Salty Spittoon.
Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough are you?
How tough am I?
Wow.
With the tattoo that gets flipped around. This is just a cool one. I do wish that this one was like, you can see mine is a little sun bleached comparatively to the SpongeBob one here, but it's okay. You know, I'm grateful just to be able to own them here. You got him doing the hi-ya, or her doing the hi-ya there. Wacky sound effects. I think that the Sandy one is probably my favorite of the set, just because at this point in time we had very, very little SpongeBob or Sandy figures in general. So to get such a cool, dynamic one, like of her in action posing here, doing the karate chop, they did a fantastic job on her actual suit too. It's just beautiful. I think they just did just an unreal job on this. Every other Sandy item we had was kind of to be kind of cutesy and girly, whereas this one shows the badassery of Sandy here. And you can actually see in the background there the Salty Spittoon. And that's something I failed to mention on the back here. I think this is them breaking into the Merma layer on these. Not as crazy of a background as this one being the Salty Spittoon. And then on the back here, it's got Sandy here, and the episode title, No Weenies Allowed. And this is for episode number 48, so we'll play the clip of that one here.
How's your collection coming along? Well, I don't mean to brag, but it's pretty sweet.
And it says, let's see here, SpongeBob and Sandy are dying to get into the Salty Spittoon, the roughest, most dangerous sailor club. in Bikini Bottom. But only the toughest in Bikini Bottom can get in. Sandy gets in no problem, but SpongeBob, another story. Will SpongeBob figure out the way to get in, or will he be hanging out with the weenies at Weenie Hut Jr. and Weenie Hut General? But it also, that's actually one of the knowledge questions. What's the name of the bodyguard at Salty Spittoon? And yes, it does say Reg down here. I'm surprised that I didn't know that was actually the fact here, but yes, that is a Reg from the Salty Spittoon. So there we go, and it says squirrel power instead of girl power. I just think that's so cool, you know? SpongeBob is such a unisex brand. It's not something like that's stereotypically supposed to be any gender's, favorite show or toy. It's very much made for anybody, and that's what I think makes SpongeBob so special. So I love that they got to give Sandy some good representation here, being one of the female lead characters in the series. And for Sandy, we do own her out of the box too. Again, I found this one, I believe, flea market hunting. And this one's got a karate chop in action here. And this arm over here just kind of swings. So I think it's to, like, if you're kind of using her, you can kind of do your own thing with that one. And if you're kind of, doing some more posing there, you can kind of get some action. I think it does kind of get locked up though if you go a little too fast. Because if I press it really fast, it starts to hit her actual dome here. But inside there, the dome is in fantastic shape. We got the little flower on the top here. On the back, you've got her squirrel tail here. You got those screws down there, and then her speaker is located here. Again, same thing, being old, she doesn't actually have any audio left. You could probably replace the batteries on them, but they're some obscure, weird batteries that you need to put in them. Let me see, I could be wrong, but I think, yeah, they're 3 AG13 batteries. Like, I don't even know what that is. So, I'm pretty sure it's like one of those small, like, hearing aid style batteries. But there we have Sandy. Absolutely awesome. And then lastly, we'll be covering Mr. Krabs here. So, again, another character. Like, we did have a bendable set that came with Mr. Krabs as well as Sandy. Very rare. It was very limitedly printed, like, comparatively to the SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick one. But the Mr. Krabs one is so cool. Just look at it. Do I even need to talk on this one? Like, so cool. He's on a base plate here because, of course, Mr. Krabs' legs don't really lend him to stand very well, so they had to give him a little piece of, like, the SpongeBob floorboarding. But I'm so glad that didn't stop them from making a really cool Mr. Krabs action figure. They didn't just say, okay, well, his legs, they don't really work, so let's make somebody else. They really went for it. And they had to do the same thing with SpongeBob too. Like, his body design doesn't really work that well as being an actual figure. So, being able to give him some bigger shoes, was the way they remedied that situation. But the base for Mr. Krabs came in clutch. You can see here he's kind of swinging the Krabby Patty here, but he also has like a launching mechanic similar to the SpongeBob and Patrick, but instead he shoots Plankton here. So it comes with a little mini Plankton figure here in his belt too, this little like emergency release chair there, and this is for episode 41 here.
I hope I don't miss again.
Reunited and it's gonna feel so good. Sweet wampum. What's that? Squidward, where are you? Shield me with your forehead!
So I think, the Sandy one and the Mr. Krabs, I think the SpongeBob and Patrick are so well represented in so many different things. It's cool that Mr. Krabs and Mr. Krabs and Sandy just got such fantastic figures here. And it says, the algae is always greener. Plankton has a new invention that allows him to switch lives. If only I could switch lives with him. With Mr. Krabs, he is immediately assaulted with all the headaches of running the Krusty Krab and being the father of a demanding teenage daughter. Plankton soon realizes that life isn't so bad being a microbe and running his own restaurant, the Chum Bucket. And that is fantastic about one of those early episodes. That's what I love about animation altogether, is they're able to teach you so many fantastic life lessons among anime and also Western animation, teaching us such amazing life lessons that you wouldn't even get at school per se, but at the same time making it so fun, so funny, and I just that's what, if anything, made me love and dive into SpongeBob and all of animation, being like one of my favorite things in the entire world, is just how beautiful that is, and like how magical it can be, showing us those lessons very, you know, easily. But then we have down here, Plankton's always trying to steal what? What is Plankton always trying to steal from the Mr. Krabs here? And then, of course, it says down here, this secret recipe. And that is the Mr. Krabs one here. And this one I am also very fortunate, you know, to own. Not only an out-of-box version of him here, he is missing the Plankton. I look for the Plankton pretty much all the time, as well as for the SpongeBob and the Patrick. I look for their little like projectiles, but often, you know, they're really hard to find because most people don't even know what the heck they are, you know. So this is the Mr. Krabs one. He's swinging his Krabby Patty here, kind of like snatching it away from Plankton, and then launches the Plankton here with this button here. And yeah, Mr. Krabs looks great. You can see that base that I'm talking about, that freaking wiping his $1,000,000 on it butt. And then we've got the base that he stands on. And for this one, I also own the prototype for this one. I do not own the prototypes for the Sandy or the SpongeBob, but who knows if they even exist or if they're in, you know, any resembling shape of what they are now. But you can see the Mr. Krabs versus the out-of-box one here. You can see that the base here does not have the detailing of the wood texture of the Krusty Krab that this one does. And you can see these like kind of like markings here on the claw of Mr. Krabs. Were kind of designed to be there just as an example of where they're probably going to put the shell lines for it, because you can see the shell line here on the actual, you know, claw, and then the button here does not exist, of course, on this one, as well as, you know, a few other things being just like the button in the front's not there, of course, as well too. But I think just how detailed everything is, like the nose itself, they made as like a little projectile piece here, or like not projectile, but a protruding piece here on him, whereas this one's got more of like a to the side nose kind of. And I'm actually surprised they didn't go with that nose rather than this one, just because I feel like this nose is so much more breakable than this one here. But I do think it makes him look a lot more dynamic, and I do prefer that they did make the protruding nose there. And then he's got the Krabby Patty as well too. And technically with this, we also own a prototype of the Plankton too, being that he's attached here. I'm so glad that this Plankton did not get lost, because now I at least have one Plankton that is out of the box here. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, you guys can see some 360s of them. So again, we can kind of solve that lost media of these being, you know, essentially not like, I would think they should also probably add for these figures here in the SpongeBob wiki, they should add these just to show exactly, you know, kind of where these figures originally conceptually came from, considering that you don't get that opportunity on a lot of SpongeBob figures. These are, you know, good representations of where they came from. But that is it on all of these guys here. That is the first line here we are going to do in this series. I will also be covering the other ones as well, like the, what are they called? Excuse me. Coke Zero drinking here. The Great Snail Race. I have the boating school. Like I said, I have just about a complete set. We'll be covering the cereals, everything. So stay tuned for it. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys haven't already. Just loving doing these videos and just kind of like, I guess almost like podcast style, just talking about things that we love here on the show. So make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys want to get early release videos of all the videos on my main channel, plus a bunch of bonus content, some Let's Plays, me watching SpongeBob with you live, go check out our Patreon. You can sign up for only $2 a month, and the people on Patreon really support this channel and keeping videos coming here, because, you know, it does take the time of, you know, recording these. You know, it is a very light editing, but also light editing you know, these videos here, and the monetization on this channel is next to non-existent. So the people that support our Patreon over there are what really keep these videos coming. So thank you so much to those people that are on Patreon already. And if you guys want to go check it out, again, you can sign up for only $2 a month and get a bunch of additional content, as well as invited to our Discord to hang out and talk with me and other members of the community. And also go check out my Whatnot stream if you guys are interested. I do lives every single week. Wednesday through Friday, I auction off a bunch of different doubles that I end up finding in our videos for my SpongeBob collection. Also, you know, a bunch of other nostalgic related items. And when you use my link, you get $15 for free. And it also helps out the show. So go check that out down below. And as always, beautiful people, I will see you in the next video. Adios and bloop. Oh yeah, I forgot. Also, check out this video on your screen here, which is the last video on this channel, and then in the future, it will link to the playlist for this series once there's more episodes. Sorry for that awkward pause. Bye. Bloop.